I'm joined now in the studio by Stephen Greensted from Britain. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Talking about marketing communication in today's world, is it more difficult than it was 5 years ago?
Depends on whether you're frightened by digital marketing or not, because the big change, of course, has been digital marketing.
Are people frightened by it?
I think quite a lot of people are, and I think a lot of that is to be found in advertising agencies. By and large, clients are much more confident about it. The reason it's difficult in advertising agencies is that traditional advertising agencies, which used to make their money out of 30-second TV commercials, are now being asked to do something very different. And what that is to invite into advertising agencies geeks whom they think as weird creatures from outer space, and integrate them with their own teams and come up with ideas which exist in hyperspace. And by that what I mean is that the media that they use, so that's things like Facebook and the internet and so forth.
It's become very fragmented, hasn't it?
Very fragmented, and it's just electrons. And it's a lot cheaper as a result, so the agencies aren't making as much money.
Well, that's not good news for them, is it?
It's not. And what they have to do now is to find ways of making money out of digital. So the old model, which used to produce a lot of money for them in TV advertising, is broken.
So what model is coming, basically, when it comes to finances, for example?
Well, the model which is slowly emerging, and it's emerging with a great deal of pain, I can tell you, is trying to make money out of ideas and content. So in other words, if you get a brief at an advertising agency now, that brief may ask you for an idea capable of being used in all sorts of media. Burger King's Whopper Sacrifice is a very good example of that. If you want to see it, go to YouTube and just type in Whopper Sacrifice, and it'll give you an idea of what you can do with a powerful idea on television. The problem at the moment for agencies is that their cost base is very high. They haven't really slimmed down. Many of them are owned by multinational companies such as WPP or Havas or any number of the American groups, and they haven't got their cost bases down either. So with a decreasing amount of money coming in and their costs high, they're all facing very serious problems.
So that's the biggest challenge for them?
That is.
How are they going to deal with it?
Well, one of the things that has happened to agencies is that many relationships have been allowed to be decreased in importance by client companies. So agencies aren't really represented at board level any longer. And an example of this is that marketing directors, especially in the UK, I'll come back to that in a minute, don't have a very long tenure of office and aren't any longer on the board. That's right, they're not on the board any longer. So you might find an HR director or an IT director on the board of a multinational, but not the marketing director. Now in the UK, the average tenure, or the average length of time that a marketing director has, is 23 months. So it's very difficult actually to make any sort of, well, it's just under a couple of years. It's very, very difficult to make a worthwhile contribution to the sales effort. And that's one of the reasons.
But basically, this world is a short-term world. I mean,
it's
getting shorter and shorter, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the average money that's paid to a UK marketing director is only about £75,000. So of course there are some who earn a lot more than that. But the ones who earn £75,000 are put through a lot of pain. The £75,000 is about 90,000 euros. I don't know what it is in zlotys, but it's not a lot.
How do you think the consumers as such have changed in the course of that process of shift from traditional media to digital?
They're in charge. Absolutely brilliant. A lot of the new media is owned by consumers. It's not owned by media contractors any longer.
Like what do you mean?
Well, Facebook, for example, or Twitter, or
they're not controllable. You can't pay them to build an image or something like that. That's dangerous in many ways to the marketing industry, isn't it?
Well, it is and it isn't. If you've got half a brain, it's pretty easy to think of ways of starting to have a conversation with people on a very respectful basis. In their own bedrooms and their sitting rooms, where they're sitting on a chair in front of their computer and are happy to have a conversation with you on an equal basis. It's completely different to having somebody sending a 30-second TV commercial down a wire to you, whether you like it or not.
Where do you think we will be in about 5 years' time when it comes to marketing communication?
It's going to change again. It's changing very quickly. Last weekend.
But do we know where we are going now?
We do, but if I'll just tell you something which happened last weekend in the UK. Facebook got a higher percentage of hits on the internet than Google did. And Google was the market leader, so profound change has happened. Social networking is going to be extraordinarily important, much more so than it is now. I can't predict who's going to be the winner there because Facebook has only been in the market for a short time. There may be 2 or 3 newcomers who overtake it very quickly. But people like being empowered. They like being able to choose what they see, when they see it, and they especially like to choose companies who have a good story to tell. And some of the companies which are big, like Procter & Gamble, don't have that story, but Apple, for example, does.
So there's a great shift in power in that industry, isn't
there?
there?
I think it's very good.
Stephen, thank you very much indeed.
Good to be interviewed by you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.